You have reached the Geek Elite. Good luck.
Welcome back for another shift on the You Jerk. I'm going to hit you.
This is why we have to record at nights that Steven's not at top of his game.
I knew it. I knew that he was going to come in and do something too. He was acting a little too quiet. Welcome back for another shift on the Geeks Watch. We're here to talk about episode 5 of Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
John, what episode would that be?
Yeah.
There's a word for this that you love.
This is the second to the last episode.
No, wait. No.
There's like another term, though, that they use for that specific episode, John.
Come on, John.
The semifinal.
That's right. The semifinal episode.
I love that song.
Isn't it like prepubescent? Is that what he says? It's pre something.
Yep,
I don't know.
The prepubescent episode. That's the one that we're talking about
it.
tonight, folks.
Oh, God.
This is
just going off the rails way too quickly.
For
This
this
is-
early on a Saturday morning, this is way too quick.
This is known as the Prima Nocta episode.
No. That's right. Welcome to the Prima Nocta episode of Falcon and the Winter Soldier Season 1.
Not better.
Yeah, not better at all. The word everybody is screaming at their podcast player right now is penultimate. The penultimate episode of the first season or only season of Falcon and the Winter Soldier. What was the name of this episode called?
Truth.
There you go. Truth.
Hashtag truth.
Hashtag truth. But before we get into that, I'm your host, Mitch. With me, as always, is
Elizabeth.
and Steven
That's me.
and Jessica.
Hello.
And from the beginning, John.
Hey.
I want to first start off with asking the ladies who weren't here last week what they thought of the episode that they missed.
So I am personally very glad that I watched these episodes back to back because I was very upset at the end of last week's episode. But then I got to read the description for this week's episode and I was like, okay, that makes me feel a little bit better. But
She got the instant gratification of seeing John Walker pay for his crime.
exactly.
Yeah.
Which, while the U.S. government did not go as far as I would want them to, they went sufficiently far with the addition of the ass whooping that he got at the beginning of this episode. But
last week's episode, that's what we're talking about.
Last week's episode.
Last week's episode. It went kind of exactly the way I anticipated it to go in terms of from each scene. I thought the actor who plays Zemo did a wonderful job at really showing what his skill set is. Because, he takes on all of these superhumans, super soldiers, all of those things. And you often wonder, how can he? And it's because he knows not to let them use their skills to their advantage.
Yeah.
He doesn't come at them directly on. He doesn't, he uses other skill sets, which I thought were very well displayed in the last episode. So, I thought the last episode was very good up until the end where I was very upset. But then I got instant gratification and just desserts, so I'm fine.
Jessica?
Do you think
Oh, sorry, Steven.
Oh, go ahead, Steven.
I was going to say he is doing a very good job of being the on the ropes version of Batman. Running out of money, trying to still stay against people that have powers.
Yep.
Yeah.
I did. I think I upset Mitch, though, in the discussion of the fact that while I don't agree with his means, I definitely agree with Zemo. Like, I definitely, yes, absolutely. There needs to be checks on anybody who is, like, to me, the concept of super soldiers, it's not something you want.
So essentially what Elizabeth's saying is that she's pro-registration.
Yeah. No, absolutely. Well, I mean, quite honestly, to me, it's the same. I would just rather have them not exist, to be quite honest, because to me, it's no different than the creation of the nuclear bomb. Like, you didn't get rid of war. You didn't stop terrorism. You didn't get rid of the threats. All you do is up the gameplay. Mm-hmm. Like, this is not the solution for world peace, if that's what you're looking for. There is no way that the creation of superhumans does that, because they will always be corruptible. And I think the show, particularly in the last few episodes, has really shown that.
Okay, Jessica, what did you think of the episode?
So I did get spoiled before I watched it. I watched it pretty much as soon as I could have, but I saw on Twitter like that shot of Captain America with the bloody shield, and I was like, "Aw!" So sure enough, I was like, instantly that guy that's talking about how much he looked up to Captain America. I was like, "That's gonna be the one that he kills, isn't it?" Like, I was watching it, and even then, even when it ended up being so, I actually got really sad over the thought that he liked the representation of that shield and he dies by it. Like, to me, that was very poetic in a tragic way, and I was like, oh god, like, oh man. And then all the cameras and all that, and just no, he's gonna get punished for it. Like, there's no way he's not gonna get punished for it, because it was seen. Of course, if he wasn't seen, he probably would not have gotten punished for it, but
he would have gotten a Medal of Honor.
Yeah, exactly. But
another Medal of Honor.
Yeah. I'm going to say this wrong. Dora Milaje.
Dora
Milaje. Yeah, their scene was just beautiful. I loved it. I could use more of them. I loved them. I loved Zemo in that episode. I'm having to go back because I watched this like 6 days ago. So, but no, it was a really, really good episode. I liked the point of view you got from Carly. I liked Sam trying to talk down Carly, and it, of course, not working out because Captain America, which I can't even remember what the crap the character's name is, but Captain America.
John Wyatt? Or
yeah.
John Walker.
No, that's not the name. Thank you.
Wyatt Russell and John Walker.
Yep.
Yeah. That was good. I did like how you got kind of like an instant consequence with Lamar dying, and Carly, although Carly was clearly okay with killing people because she blew up people, she clearly was not quite okay with that one. I feel like she was like, oh, I did not mean to. And that very much is a repercussion to getting strength that you don't know your limits of. Now, I don't know if she, like, I might have actually also been the realization she like, oh, I messed up. Like, I just killed his friend. Like,
I felt like it was the first time that she's had been responsible for someone's death and been in the room for the consequence.
Yeah, to see it. Which I'd like to know, that kind of death is like my horrifying thing. Like, when somebody gets shoved and dies, like, that's my worst nightmare, which happens in a lot of things, but it's just like, I think, like those fences that have like the spikes, anytime I walk by them, I just always see those scenes when somebody just gets launched into them and dies, because it's just, it's just how you fall sometimes. So I feel like those deaths always have more impact than like getting blown up or getting shot, because like that's a typical way, whereas this is like, no, you can legit just fall the wrong way and die, or get pushed the wrong way and die. So I was like, oh, but like, but I guess it was surprising, but it was also like something that had to happen too, I think, for John Walker's development into where he was heading when he took the serum, and which he clearly was going to take the serum when he took it. But it was a good episode.
So now that we've recapped the last week's episode, let's get into our week's watch. Elizabeth, what did you watch this week?
So this week, the only thing I had time for that you're not going to talk about is the Death of the Incredible Hulk from 1990, which Mitch was watching for Journey into Mystery.
That's right. Which John was a guest on for this particular episode.
So because Mitch has been watching these old superhero movies, I have been also watching them. And while there is plenty of terrible stunts and special effects just because it's 1990 versus today, I do think that the Incredible Hulk series have probably been my favorite of the old ones. I think the acting is much better than the acting in the old Captain America ones. By far. So the part that I found really funny, and so this movie, David Banner, because apparently Mitch was telling me when we were watching this, Bruce was deemed to be too homosexual of a name.
According to the producer of the show, back in the 1970s, they did not want to use the name Bruce because it sounded too homosexual.
Did they just have a really big thing against Batman? They were like, nah.
I guess they just felt, most people just felt Batman could overpower the homosexual vibe, I guess. I don't know, but that's
or maybe it was a direct result of the Adam West version. They're like, nah, man, that's way too effeminate.
So? I have no idea, but that was one of those things that I was just like, wait, what? Because I was very confused why he kept getting called David. I was like, oh, is that his fake name that he's like, so nobody knows who he is? And Mitch was like, no, that's really what they're calling him. And I was like, that doesn't make any sense to me. That's okay. So David Banner poses as a janitor in a lab for somebody who is trying to essentially recreate his gamma radiation experiment. And so he basically ends up working with the scientist to try and undo the effects of becoming the Hulk. And somewhere in here, there is a spy network that Mitch says they're Russian, but I swear they never, it is never said who they work for or what their mission is. It's just it continually just says for the cause. And I'm like, what is the cause? Nobody explains what the cause is. I'm convinced they have a fairly Israeli accent. Mitch is convinced they have a Russian accent. I don't know. John, what did you think? I just could never figure out.
Yeah.
Go ahead, John.
Oh, no, yeah, I assumed they were Russian also.
But it's never said. And I will tell you that Wikipedia doesn't say either. Like, they just, nobody knows. Nobody knows who the bad guys are actually supposed to be. They are just a spy network.
They're for sure communists. Oh, they're for sure.
Yeah, I don't know.
So the lady in it, the character, is supposed to be a Black Widow kind of counterpart. So thus Russian.
Is that the assumption? Okay. So, because this spy network is trying to get at the same formula to basically take control of it. Again, you have this whole fight over super soldier serums. This is the reason that they shouldn't exist. But in any case,
someone's going to develop it. It might as well be our side too.
Or maybe just nobody develop it. Maybe we just don't need it. Anyway.
No. Do you not understand how humans work?
I'm perfectly clear that what I think should happen is not the way the world actually works. I am in touch enough with reality for that.
All right, I'm with you here on this one, though.
Oh, yeah, right? No, I get it. But it's
now, what did you think of the actual death of the Hulk?
It was very anticlimactic. Like, that was the world's longest fall.
It's true.
Like, it goes on. The scene of him falling out of the airplane goes on for a solid 5 minutes. Like, he's just falling, and they keep cutting to the other people watching him fall, and then he's falling, and then other people watching him fall, and then he's falling, and then other people watching, and it just goes and goes and goes, and then all of a sudden, boom, he hits the ground. But there's nothing else. Like, there's no real death scene.
And that's just how it ends. It just ends there too, boom. With him on the ground. Done.
That's it? That's the end of the movie?
The end of the movie, she runs over and says he's dead, and done. Movie goes to black.
Cut to black. Like,
He's
that's
dead,
it.
Jim.
He's dead,
Wow.
Jim.
So, yeah, because, and the woman, the love interest is a member of the spy network who he saves, and basically she tries to convince him to run away, but he needs to rescue the scientist that he was working with and his wife. So, then he dies.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah. Again, better than the Captain America movies of the same time period. Still not great. That's what I watched this week.
You can be happy to know that the name of David Banner carries on into the Ang Lee Hulk movie that comes out in
course it does.
2003, 2004.
Why?
Just because I think that particular movie was trying to capture the idea, like some of the stuff from that version of the Incredible Hulk.
Well, to be fair, so did the Edward Norton one.
Well, they called him Bruce David Banner, didn't they?
Yeah, well, no, but I mean, going so far as to actually include the Lonely Man music.
Oh
which the
yeah,
Ang Lee
yeah.
version did not.
Oh yeah, you're absolutely right. They even have Lou Ferrigno in that version, like just not as the Hulk, but as the security guard.
But yeah,
He doesn't appear in the Ang Lee version also?
I think he does.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah.
in any case, if you want to hear people who actually know about movies talk about this movie, you can go over and listen to the Journey into Mystery podcast.
That's right.
And I have no idea where we watched this one from because it just appeared on the TV screen.
Yeah, well,
which is
this
the way it
one
normally works.
Thanks to John. John found this one online. Someone had posted the whole movie to Facebook, so you can watch it on Facebook.
And I should also confirm as well, give credit where credit is due. The only reason I even thought to look there was because of Jess's previous suggestion for when we watched The Wall on VHS Gems. I was like, if that was on there, why not? Let's take a look. And holy shit, there it is, the whole movie.
Fan sites on Facebook, fan sites, because it was like a Pink Floyd fan site that had posted the entire The Wall movie. Because we weren't finding it anywhere else.
Really? That's not
So,
streaming
other than-
anywhere. That's
I
surprising.
own it, so like I was good, but I was like, I don't know how John's gonna watch this.
I've been trying to figure out how many pounds of force the Hulk would have hit the Earth with, and it's taken a little bit.
I mean, you'd have to calculate in his density though. Like he's more dense than the normal person.
That's the hard part. So here, like, I took a thing for a car because why not?
Okay.
With muscle density.
All
so
right.
a 3,000 pound car, that's at 70 miles per hour. So we have to like at least double it because it terminal velocity would be about double what the mileage of this thing is.
Mm-hmm.
So it would be something like 31 million pounds of force.
So you mean he would have actually like broken through the asphalt that he just cracked in the movie?
Oh yeah. Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
he
There would have
would've.
been a big old hole.
Yeah, it would have been like a crater from what.
Not to get too far off the topic, but in lieu of how producers in the 70s felt about the Bruce Banner name versus David Banner, I suppose. I know Mitch has definitely seen this. I don't know if anyone else has, but Kevin Smith had some interesting things to say about what the producer of Superman thought of the Superman suit in one of his stand-up specials where he talks about the making of. And let's just say it's less than progressive. That producer, who himself was a hairdresser, had some very negative things about...
Not just a hairdresser, Barbara Streisand's hairdresser.
Ooh,
Yeah.
Babs?
Babs.
perhaps.
And so the very first evening with Kevin Smith has a great story about his time working on the Superman movie with Nicolas Cage that never happened. And so those mindsets still carried on well into the 90s.
Wait,
Probably are
Nicolas
still there
Cage
today.
was supposed to be Superman?
He was.
There's a movie about that.
So
Oh,
yes,
yeah.
you should also go watch John Schnepp's documentary, Whatever Happened to the Death of Superman, I think is what it's called.
The Death of Superman Lives.
The Death of Superman Lives. That's what it is. Yes, after
for this.
Tim Burton directed the 1989 Batman and 1991 Batman Returns, they wanted him to direct Superman, and his idea was to have Nicolas Cage play Superman and Kal-El. and they did screenshots or screen tests with different versions of the suit. They had all kinds of concept art put up there. John Peters is the hairdresser who became a movie producer. He has the rights. He at the time had the rights to Superman. Did he also have the rights to Batman, John? Or is it just Superman?
Yes, because he produced all of the Superman movies also.
Okay.
The Batman, yeah.
Yeah. So I think Michael Uslan has all the Batman rights. But yeah, his idea of, because he's from the streets, as Kevin Smith tells the story.
As Barbara Streisand's hairdresser?
Correct. That he wouldn't want to see any certain word suits for Superman. But yes, go watch that.
Do they
go watch
realize that superheroes wear their underwear outside their pants? Like, I don't understand what the issue is.
Yeah.
That was the issue. He didn't want to see it that way.
Yeah, he didn't want to see that.
It's so frustrating. It's ignoring the entire origin of superheroes and that stuff. But that's a long other conversation.
That's a big
an
old
entirely
conversation.
different podcast. Okay.
So yes, go watch those.
I think that's going to be a future group watch.
I think I can pass.
Not unless someone challenges you to it or trades off for it.
I mean, we did watch Jodorowsky's Dune, so
Boom.
if I could get through that.
Yes, and I still regret that.
All right, Steven, what did you watch this week?
So for this week, honestly, I watched a few different things here and there. A lot of random new Netflix sitcoms with Naima, my better half.
I can never find any good sitcoms on Netflix.
No, neither do we.
Yeah, okay, that's what I was gonna say. Like,
But they keep trying.
they do keep trying. Like that one with Kevin James. That thing's terrible. The Crew, like that's bad. I tried looking for something else. Sorry, Steven, I took over your thing.
Oh no, you're okay. No. For this one, the best one with a couple jokes here and there was some family reunion. I don't remember what it's called, but a couple jokes in passing from that one were like okay, but not a passable show all overall. But no, the thing I want to talk about is that I listened to the audiobook for Anne McCaffrey's To Ride Pegasus and Pegasus, or what is the other one? They put them together for some reason. Pegasus in Flight and To Ride Pegasus. It's this 1997 really, really well done audio version of the thing where it's still just one narrator, but they did a fantastic job. But the whole reason I went back to this one is that this book series in general, especially towards the beginning end of the series, the Talent series, were really, really good. They do this thing where the whole thing that spurs anyone finding out about anyone having any kind of abilities or powers, all from the brain. No one has just like super strength or whatever in this. Is that there's a guy who's supposed to have precognitive abilities. He's on TV, different stuff like that, and he gets this random brain injury or a random injury, and they hook him up to an EEG as this cautionary measure, and he has a precognitive event during the time that he's hooked up to it, and so they get to actually catch this happening and show evidence of it. The thing for this one is that it was also written in like 1973 originally, the first short story for this, and they did a fantastic job of hitting this fully realized, recognized kind of world of people with mental abilities. They hit all of the points of what they would need to still function, to be any kind of part of society. They would have to have jobs, other kinds of like work immunity kind of things where they can't necessarily be blamed if something goes slightly off the rails, because obviously people are going to attribute it to this like all-powerful group. It's really interesting. They do a good job of setting up some of the stuff that would come to pass in human history in general, like as far as like socioeconomic issues and different stuff, as well as being incredibly diverse in the people who are in the book. Like it's really, really good, and I can't recommend it more highly. Yep. There's still a couple things in there because it's an old book where I'm like, I don't know about this thing, but that's like 2 instances out of 2 novels. that's a pretty good batting average for a book from 1973.
Yeah.
So yeah, I highly recommend it. So yeah.
Okay.
I like it.
The Pegasus flies.
So To Ride Pegasus and Pegasus in Flight.
Pegasus in flight.
Yeah.
All right. Unfortunately, I don't think I have any other questions to ask you about it. Anybody
That's okay.
else?
If y'all like books, we do a book podcast also.
There you go. Make sure you check out Love of Pages. Jessica, what did you watch this week?
So I have a couple things. The first thing I'd like to talk about is I have moved on in the Marvel animated shows, and I'm now on 94 to 96 Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Specifically, the one part I could talk about is a 14 episode collection titled Neogenic Nightmare, in which Spider-Man develops a mutation for some reason. Which I've mentioned I watch these like before I go to sleep, so it depends on how tired I am on if I fall asleep during the episode. And I tweeted about this. I literally fell asleep and then woke up to Spider-Man sprouting out like 4 more extra arms from his sides, and I'm like, what just happened? Like, what did I miss? I got that he's mutating, but what is happening?
I forget what's that.
So they made him an
creature
actual
has a
spider.
name.
Yeah, they gave
Man
him...
spider.
Oh, okay.
No. There's
that's yeah.
there's another. Man.
Yeah, because
doppelganger.
No.
I don't know if it's doppelganger, but they kept on referring it to him turning into a man spider as opposed to a Spider-Man, because eventually the end of it is Falcon. Yeah, Falcon ends up through science, I don't know, taking the mutation, and he becomes the man spider thing, where he legit just looks like a spider that walks. Like, it's creepy.
I don't think I like this.
Yeah, no, it's 14 episodes. So you think that's a long time to establish something, but literally there are so many crossovers within it. I couldn't keep track of what was going on within the actual plot point. Like, this had the X-Men crossover. It also had, I think, Daredevil.
Yep.
Or maybe that was somebody else. Yeah, Daredevil. It also had Doctor Strange in an episode. Oh no, that's the next one. Hold on. Doctor Strange pops up right after it. Blade, which was cool because I got to learn about Blade because I haven't seen the Blade movies. So it's nice to see like a comic book version of him before I actually try to watch the Blade movies. What is the name? Morbius?
Morbius.
Oh,
as
Michael
well.
Morbius?
Vampire.
Yes,
Oh, God,
Morbius
good
is where
luck.
Blade comes in. Yeah, that was fun. It was different.
Did they have the Punisher in there? I don't remember.
Yes,
That's
the
when
Punisher,
they introduced the Punisher or not.
Punisher was there. It was a lot every other episode. I couldn't keep track what was actually going on with Peter Parker, because it's like, and I don't even think they would
Wasn't
straight
about
up
him.
introduce them slowly. It'd be like the start of the episode and Spider-Man is like, I'm going to work with Blade this time and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, wait, Blade? And Blade is in one episode, and within that episode, you get the entire Blade arc of him falling in love with like a police detective. You're like, what is this? But it happens so quickly that you're like, what just happened? Like, and then at the end, he goes away, and she's like, well, guess I'm in love with the vampire. Who needs love? And walks away, and you're like, what the hell happened?
I do remember
And then she never comes back.
Morbius's time in the Spider-Man cartoon. I remember he said the person who he was in love with's name so much that even as a little kid, I was like, he's saying this too much. This is bad dialogue.
Yeah, it's not the best of dialogues in the show as a whole, and any of the 1990s really Marvel shows. The dialogue's really like flat, but I mean, it's made for kids, and it's Fox Mornings, whatever. So you don't need to expect the best writing.
He's in love with Felicia? I
think it's Felicia.
Yeah,
I think that was
that's
her
the
name.
I was
case.
gonna
and
say,
she's gonna come back around.
Yeah, and like Morbius ends up basically
And yeah.
turning into a fool, but it's just it's a lot because like before that, Peter Parker is like trying to choose between Felicia and Mary Jane, and I was like, oh my god, dude, like the amount of ego that this Spider-Man has is just like, oh. And I kind of like Mary Jane in this version as well. She's very much like done with his crap the times, and she's just fun. But Spider-Man I don't like so much in this one. I'd probably still like Tom Holland's Spider-Man the best writing wise, but I don't like a Spider-Man that's older. I don't know why.
Well, okay, so I've talked to other people about this one, and other people say they don't agree with this. But does Peter not look like a 35-year-old tennis coach throughout that entire cartoon?
He really
It's
does.
the hair.
It's the striped polo.
The polo, yeah.
Polo, yeah, he looks like I would not be friends with Peter Parker. I'm on.
You know what's so
He's
funny?
like that nice guy. Like you're like, you think you're nice, but you're not. Like that's what he comes across as.
I know that it's a common like cartoon thing. It's just because it's easier to animate that way. To have your characters always be in the same clothing, and that show very much does that.
Yeah.
But watching Invincible every week this week, like now that it's out, like every time I see Mark Grayson in the same outfit that is his normal everyday clothes, I'm like, it's weird that they don't draw him in different clothes. Like it's always the same sweater with the button up underneath and just the one tail pull through the bottom of the sweater, and it pisses me off. I'm like, just either have him tuck that in or change clothes. I need one or the other.
This week was the worst one. They were supposed to be. Did you watch this week's episode?
Yes, I did. Yeah.
They're supposed to be doing other like casual fun time stuff, and this dude's going around in like layers, like he's an 8-year-old who got told he had to dress up for an event.
Yep. Have they done the John Jameson part of that Spider-Man show that you're talking about, Jessica?
I don't know. You'd have to remind me more than just the name.
John Jameson is he's the astronaut. He's Jonah's son.
Yeah, that was Venom, right? Yeah.
So they already did Venom. So
they did Venom. Venom was right before this thing started. I think it led into the neogenic.
That makes sense.
And the lizard guy too. That's the doctor.
Because essentially, this TV show retcons like the origin story of the black suit and the Venom. Like this show makes it so that this is the better origin of the origin that they go with in the comic books, even like to this day. Like they've retconned it so that it's not like, because originally in the comic books he gets the suit in the Secret Wars and it just happens to be a suit, and now it's this whole symbiote thing from an alien world and a whole world of different symbiotes and stuff like that. And it's even a big tie-in that's or crossover that's going on in Marvel Comics right now called King in Black, which is the original symbiote coming in and trying to be like, look, I'm the king of all symbiotes. Venom, you need to shut the hell up, kind of thing.
He ends up with like a weird god axe thing. It's
interesting.
It's a weird. I'm not reading it, but to me, hearing the peripherals, it's all very strange. I'm like, Venom being a big crossover event just seems strange to me for all of Marvel. They keep
doing it.
They do.
They keep doing it.
It's not the first one. It just seems like a weird one for me to hear about. Anyways, I just wanted to bring that up because like it's interesting how even the Batman 90s animated series and the Spider-Man 90s animated series both very much changed the course of those characters in the comic books. I mean, it gave us Harley Quinn as a character, like the animated Batman series. Like without that show, you wouldn't have had that character in the comic books.
The same thing happened for Transformers as well with Beast Wars and Beast Machines. That was just a time where everyone was like, all of these IPs are next to worthless right now. Let's just do whatever.
I didn't even think about that. You're right. I mean, because Beast Wars is the first time you hear about the Allspark, and now that's a huge part of the Transformers thing. Lore. Thank you. Were you gonna say something, John?
Oh no, yeah, I was agreeing with all of that.
Oh, I thought you had started saying something. Sorry.
I was gonna say something. Don't they do Secret Wars in the animated Spider-Man series also?
They do, but it's towards the
later,
end
though, right?
That's at the very end. Yeah.
Cool.
So they wouldn't retroactively do the Spider-Man black suit since it was already there.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And they definitely don't dive into it as much as the comic book did. You said you had more things to talk about, John? Jessica, sorry.
Yes, I did. I did do our little movie switch, and last night I watched Tango and Cash, which I'm surprised I did not know this movie existed.
I am also surprised you didn't.
Yeah.
I know. Well, apparently my mom has seen it before, which also surprised me because it's very much rated R, so I don't see her liking it. But she's like, yeah, Kurt Russell and Sylvester Stallone. And I was like, wait, Sylvester Stallone is it? And I'm watching it, and it starts with Sylvester Stallone in like glasses and in a suit, and I was like, I kind of like this version of Sylvester Stallone. Like, what is it? I mean, the acting's still not solid, but like, it's great. This movie, I both liked it and hated it at the same time. Like, it's very much buddy cop, which I like buddy cops, but it like takes it to an extreme that I don't think I needed in some scenes. Like, I don't mind rated R movies, but the torture scene in the jail, I was like, what is happening? Like, where did this go? We're straight up shocking. Like, they should be dead. I'm sorry. They should be dead right now, and they're not. And it's the like witty back and forth is great, but it's so constant that you're kind of like done with it by the end of the film. Like, oh my God, just say you like each other already. Like, just stop. I liked Catherine or Kiki, which like first you think might be Sylvester Stallone's like girlfriend. She's actually a sister, and so of course it becomes Kurt Russell's gonna like her. So of course she becomes the hostage that the bad guy uses in the end.
Terry Hatcher.
Yeah, Terry Hatcher. So Lois.
Oh,
Lois
was a
from
young Terry
Lois.
Hatcher.
That's right.
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
And it was fun movie. Just it's just kind of over the top ridiculous, which I guess is kind of what you want from a late 1980s action buddy cop
Yep.
thing.
Well,
Anyway,
If you want over the top action in the 80s, you have to watch Over the Top with Sylvester Stallone.
I mean, there's not really that much action in that. It's a lot of arm wrestling.
It has the most dramatic high stakes arm wrestling ever put on film.
Ever put on. I don't think there's a lot of other arm wrestling put on
might have
film, but
seen
I'm so confused.
I feel like I might have seen that because I remember Sylvester Stallone crazily arm wrestling somebody.
but Tango and Cash is so over the top. Kurt Russell has a gun in his boot. Not like he has a gun hidden in his boot. His boot is a gun.
Is the gun? Yeah.
Wild West.
Well, I mean, this only makes sense.
I love it. I love this movie so much in all of its cheesiness.
It's so cheesy. It's so like, oh my God, these are the worst cops ever. Like,
But they're also the best cops ever.
they're also the best cops ever, which is like, yeah, which kind of, I feel like I watched it at the wrong time period though, because like right now with what's going on in the world, seeing this is like, yeah, this is why we have problems like this. Is because we glorify this. Yeah, we very much glorify that good cop, bad cop thing, and this is why we get situations like this later on in society because we accept it in media. But anyway, that's a bigger conversation. If I pull back from reality and be like, no, this is a fun time. It was cops. The bad guy with the rats. Just holding the rats and saying I love you, and I'm like, I love rats too, dude, but like, what is your deal? Like, I don't know. It's just, and the TVs and the, I don't know, it was, and Kurt Russell shirtless. But it was great. Actually, you get full buff from behind of both of them, which is
That's true. Showers
that
in the
was-
prison.
showers in the prison. That
Very
was great.
muscular.
Of course, and then of course it's the soap drop scene. Like, I joke about it, and it's just
Hey,
like,
it was the 80s.
It was the 80s, and that's just it. If you like 80s action, you're gonna like it. Which part of me really loves 80s action, so I liked it. But another part of me is like, nowadays I just see everything that's just so not okay anymore that you're like, oh. But then you're like, you know what? Just detach. It's a fun 80s action film that has a crazy monster truck battle sequence.
I mean, you can watch the remake from 2019. It's just called Hobbs and Shaw. It's literally the same movie.
Oh my God.
I missed the super soldier in the original though.
That's
What?
fair.
There's no super soldier.
Yeah, that's true. Yes,
Yeah.
the bad guy changes, but literally everything else is the same.
You know what though? Nowadays you can just refer to Tango as Cash as Ego and King Shark.
That's true. You will be able to do that now. I mean, Sylvester Stallone was also in Guardians of the Galaxy 2, though.
Yeah, but what was that guy's name?
Yeah, no one knows. It's
Who
okay.
cares? Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it just
Guy in
upset me that
Guardians,
there wasn't a scene with Ego and Sylvester Stallone's character in that movie. Like, just
True
to have the
that.
Tango and Cash reunion.
That would have had that, yeah.
Yeah.
Missed opportunity. Maybe everybody forgot. It was the 80s. A lot of coke back then.
I didn't forget. James Gunn
Literally
didn't
a lot.
forget.
Yeah. It was great.
So where were you able to find this treasure of a movie?
So it was available for free on some app, I think Tubi, but I didn't have
Tubi.
Tubi set up.
Oh.
So I just rented it on Prime because I'm not setting.
Wait, did you check on Facebook?
I did not check on Facebook. You're right.
I'm going to go
Probably
upload it to Facebook right now.
I don't know how you do that. Does Facebook
Mitch is
is
gonna
like
find it
more
and find
lenient
his,
on their
some
uploads?
fan page.
Or
No,
what?
because they don't let you upload jack without, like, it will get copyright infringement like instantly. Trust me, I
But, like-
post stuff for our page all the time.
Yeah.
You get hit with it.
Well, that's why I was surprised I found The Wall, because The Wall is fairly protected because it's music and then video,
Right.
you know? So, but that video had been up for 3 years on Facebook,
I don't know.
perfectly fine with a bunch of likes and comments on it. So I'm like, how is this working?
That I wonder about that myself.
I don't get it.
All right, it's available on Amazon Prime or Tubi if you want to watch it with commercials. Was that everything?
Yeah, I think that's everything because I talk a lot, so other people should talk.
John, what did you watch this week?
Well, just for clarification, it looks like Tango and Cash full movie with Israeli subtitles is available on Facebook. But I watched, I've been busy. My child has also been overpowering my every whim here. And so, like,
The way to put it.
it's been a constant cycle of watching Incredibles 1 and 2, which I think Liz would probably be a big fan of that because they definitely try to squash any attempt of having
yes.
superheroes. They're like, nope, can't have them. Too much of a liability.
Oh yeah.
But these are
and,
people with powers already. What are they supposed to do with it?
Not use them. Got to just suppress them.
You just
gotta
suppress who
suppress
you are.
power.
Okay.
They can't be their real selves. They have to conform to society for the greater good. But anyway, no, I have things to say about the sequel though because there's so many missed opportunities with all the talk in the first one about. I guess that could be my rewatch technically, since that's the only real thing I saw is The Incredibles 1 and 2. I want to say some hot takes on it. I
Okay.
think the sequel is trash.
Got him.
Alas.
Harsh.
Story-wise,
I think
the
it's a
sequel is
definite
trash.
it's a definite great example of male toxicity. Like Mr. Incredible is fucking horrible in that movie.
Well, yes.
Compared to the version that you get in the first one where he's like really worried about his family and like doesn't feel like he's strong enough to protect them, to the version you get in the second one where it's like, my wife is dumb, I'm the real hero. Come on.
Well, except the first one is the same concept. I'm the one who has to
Same
protect
thing.
them. The only one that can protect them is me. And if I'm not
But
strong enough,
that's him feeling sorry. Like that's him like whatever.
It's the
Go
same
ahead, John.
toxicity.
That doesn't just disappear. It's the same.
It's not the same.
It's the same.
No, yeah, it's the same movie. Everything that was like done in the first movie is undone by the beginning of the second. All of the character development, the progression to the real world implications here was just like gone. It basically we restarted. It's like they took the same script and just like changed the details. Like now Mrs. Incredible is the one that's doing the undercover superhero stuff. And
Yes.
like yeah, so you add powers to Jack this time, whereas before you had to watch like a special scene to get all
Jack
of that.
Jack attacks.
Like, yes. There were so many ways that this movie could have gone. The fact that it starts with the ending of the last movie with the Underminer, and that's gone and done with in like the first 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And there's no resolution to that whatsoever. The bad guy gets away. And what I would have liked to have seen is a further exploration, because I've seen some great fan uh, theories about the Incredibles having to do with like Syndrome actually working for the government the whole time, and like him being commissioned to start the next generation of supers, but that were like super soldiers with technology as opposed to being the ones that had the natural abilities. And the talk that what's her name Edna Mode has with Incredible early on in the first movie, where she says, "I used to design for gods," and she has these huge statues and like this mural of like Greek gods, and the implication that like that the supers are actually descendants of actual Greek mythological heroes. That it kind of follows a similar like DC storyline with old gods, and like, you know, them still being in this in the I guess society. And then a separate fan theory that dealt with, oh no, like these supers were artificially created, but they were all government agents at some point or another, such as one of the ways that both Incredible and Elastigirl have infiltration abilities, but very different based on their skill set, their powers. Whereas Mr. Incredible just kind of like bulldozes a bit more directly into Syndrome's like secret lair. Elastigirl does a lot more like Black Widow type stuff in order to get in there. And it says, well, clearly they have training. I mean, Elastigirl is even a trained pilot, and Incredible, for being, you know, so strong, he's still smart. Like, he figures out that the password to the computer was in like Gazer Beam's like dying, you know, moments. He put that on the wall. And it's like, okay, yeah, that was pretty interesting that he was able to put those together. These are clearly smart, trained people, not just people that have abilities. But we don't really do anything with that. It's just basically the same movie, just repackaged with like a different like sheen on it. Now it's in Mrs. Incredible doing all the superhero stuff. And yeah, you get some of the dynamic back and forth with like, well, Incredible thinking it should be him, being kind of jealous. I actually do like that scene where he has to kind of like admit through gritted teeth that like, yeah, they're right, you would be the better one to do this because you have a bit more finesse, whereas I would just like break stuff. And that is pretty cool. I hated the fact that they brainwashed what was his name, Tony, the little boy that was going to go on the date with Violet.
No,
And
yeah.
like all of the character growth that she goes to become like stronger and more confident is immediately undone when he like doesn't recognize her anymore, and she takes that as rejection and has like a near nervous breakdown.
What?
Which, to be fair, that's happened to me too, but I felt
Yeah.
like she was stronger than that. So
Yeah,
I
she's
do-
still a teenager.
I was gonna say, I do appreciate that they, although hyperbole, I feel like they adequately expressed the exhaustion that comes with parenting a toddler,
Yes.
and the frustration that comes with parenting a teenager.
Yes.
yeah.
And then that crazy middle child too. Just-
Well, and
Yeah.
the math, because you know, having parents that are teachers, the difficulty parents have with Common Core.
or change it.
I did like that reference, because I'm like, what? This makes no sense. Why would you take the numbers apart and put them in boxes, and what?
Yeah.
It's like, this isn't Sudoku. Why are we doing this? But yeah, like it gives me like a different appreciation for the movies. I still think the first one is just masterfully done. The second one, not so much, only because it's derivative. It's still great animation wise, acting wise. I like some of the general ideas in it. But why make the villain again someone who's just obsessed with technology and has beef with heroes because they disappointed her in the past? You know, spoiler alert. It's the same thing, basically. Except that in this one, the villain doesn't die. I think that was kind of a missed opportunity with killing Syndrome in the first one. But, I mean, I probably didn't think they were going to get a sequel. So it was a good way to just tie it up. And I think
Yeah.
that's what the problem was, is when you don't think you're going to have a sequel and you, like, you know, put a nice little bow at the end and it's satisfying. But then, oh no, we have to continue the story now.
But 10
It's
years
more of
later,
this.
yeah, that's the other thing. I
Or-
think the huger the gap between sequels, the more
Yeah.
problematic you have to writing a good sequel. That's not just trying to run nostalgia of the first one, which is basically what this one did.
I was really
Yeah.
confused, John. I was in the same spot as you for this one, where when I watched it, I was like, I don't know why everyone's singing this movie's praises so much. It's so much of the same thing. It's not like it's like, oh damn, like it's the same thing for a reason because everything else in the movie. It wasn't that. I liked a lot of parts of it, but
Yeah.
I didn't come out of it thinking like that was a good movie.
No, I was very just underwhelmed, I want to say, because it didn't feel like it progressed the story anymore. And like I said, this would be a great show to have a TV series built around it that maybe explores some of those other aspects, like where do the supers come from, what were the ramifications of the. I mean, there's a 15-year gap between the moment that the supers get canceled, so to speak, and when the first story picks up. What happened in some of those intervening years? Did some other characters have more difficulty? What was it like seeing the kids start to develop powers? Like, how early could they tell? Like, at one point, was Violet in her cradle and then she's gone and they're like, oh, crap, where'd she go? That kind of thing. Or when when Dash first started crawling, did it, like, just crawl, like, at, Mach 3 or something? Like, what? There's a lot of stuff there. I really would like to see if they explore more of the past. I want to see what Edna and other people's fascinations with the heroes are. Because if you think about it, Edna also is a fanboy, not so different from how I was gonna say Incredible Boy, but Syndrome was, it's like there's definitely hero worship in this world, and obviously someone like Incredible has a hard time letting that go. Just looking at his trophy room, it's like it's all about him. He definitely likes to self-granulate, but I don't know. I wanted more from it, and that's me speaking as an adult fan, not as a child, because obviously my kid just can't get enough of them. And she thinks they're great, and she likes the second one more because of its focus on Mrs. Incredible, and that's great.
Hello.
Elastigirl.
The best thing honestly, the best takeaway from that entire movie was just the cool motorcycle that factors in her abilities. That was the best thing.
Yeah, that was cool.
And I may or may not have taken that McDonald's toy from my kid at one point and kept it for myself. That's not on the record. But that was basically what I ended up doing. Sort of a retro Geeks watch with some additional commentary of how I really feel about it. What other people think about that, absolutely hit me up on all social media because it is at Magic Bollocks.
I just, to counteract with the character development kind of sort of being the same in the second two, I actually find it annoying that character development happens and then everything's hunky-dory from then on. I think that's very anti-realistic. I think it does take more than just one developing opportunity for somebody to actually change. So I think that might be why the sequel didn't bug me as much, with Mr. Incredible still being kind of the jealous type, because that's something that's very slow to happen. There are several lessons that have to happen, not just one. Same thing, especially for teenagers with Violet. Like, there's several lessons that have to happen with rejection for you to get over the idea of rejection and, having and developing a self-esteem kind of thing. So I think that's why the second one didn't bug me as much, because to me it is realistic that their problems wouldn't all be solved by the end of the first movie, and they shouldn't all be solved by the end of the first movie. But I definitely do see that the first movie is about film, though. Although Elastigirl,
No, Elastigirl is pretty awesome, and I like that they also there's some good dialogue between Elastigirl and Evelyn Endeavor, which is meant to be a pun, apparently. Evil Endeavor, if you read it a little bit differently. They have some good philosophical conversation about the nature of superheroes and the nature of what her brother's trying to do as far as bringing superheroes back. And I'm like, it's well written. It's just the story's really lacking. It ends literally with Violet and Tony going on a date again. And the only reason why she gets over it is because she finds out, oh, he didn't reject me. He just doesn't remember me because the thing that happened. Yeah. Okay, well, I just need to go back and try again, because obviously he liked me before, so he's going to like me again. That resolution, I was like, no, it ultimately nothing changes. It's we could intersplice these two movies into being one movie, and that would make more sense to me than this being a sequel. Because to me, a sequel should progress it somehow, And like at the end of it, we're still right back where we ended at the end of the first one. So I don't know, like this could be a good experiment for like editing, I think.
Yeah,
Because
well-
like literally, there's no gap in time.
Yeah.
It begins where the last one ends. So
Yeah, which is another like don't have a big gap between making the sequel and
Yeah.
if it's gonna start.
I think it would have been
Yeah.
better received if it came out like 2 years as opposed to 10 or however long it was.
Mhm.
Yeah. I will note Incredibles 3 is in production, I think, right now. It was supposed to come out in 2022. So maybe
I didn't even
3
hear
is
about it
where
in
we'll get
Incredibles
it.
3 because I know Brad Bird said that he didn't have any desire to come back and do a third one. So I don't know if he
It
is.
might still just be rumor, but I was pretty sure because the second one did do good in box office, and
Mhm.
knowing Disney, they're gonna do
Yeah.
a third one. They did
That's
a
the
third
rule.
Cars movie. They shouldn't have done the second Cars movie. The third Cars movie was actually good. So
Yeah, maybe that's what this is. Maybe this will be like the Temple of Doom for the Incredible series, and we'll get a Last Crusade that will like
Yeah.
redeem it.
but we'll see. I don't know if Brad Bird would be involved or not, because like I said, it's still seemingly all the articles are older. But I do remember hearing that they were going to do a third one for sure.
Well, I just want the
But-
third one to be a time jump where Violet and Dash are like adults and Violet's like in charge of whatever agency that's in charge of supers. I think that'd be the great story.
That would
I'm down
be
with that.
very much awesome.
And then
I
like
am
you have
down with
old
that.
Mr. Incredible and Elastigirl and like just watching over their grandkids or something.
Dude, no, they need to do a Kingdom Come like in the
Wow, in the
universe.
Incredibles universe, that would be
Yes.
insane. All right, sure,
Yes.
why not? All right, I assume that was on Disney Plus.
Absolutely.
No, okay.
Mitch, what did you watch?
My week's watch. So before I get into my actual week's watch, I just want to say that for the Mitch and Rich show, which will be on a special night of Monday instead of this past Saturday, I watched Minari, and I think everybody should go and watch that movie. It is phenomenal. And I will admit here that it made me ugly cry. Like it straight up did.
I can't watch it then. There's no way I'll survive.
I mean, I think I cry at different things than what most people do, so it might not get you the same way. But it very much did. So listen to our show about that after you watch the movie. But for my exchange with Jessica, I watched Rodgers and Hammerstein's Cinderella from 1997. Is that
Yes.
right? Yep, 1997, starring
Yes.
Brandy Norway and Whitney Houston and Jason Alexander and Whoopi Goldberg,
Goldberg.
and Victor Garber and Bernadette Peters.
And
And
everybody great, wonderful.
wow, there was just so many people in this movie. Unfortunately, that prince does not go on to do anything other than 22 episodes of Mortal Kombat Legacy, a USA Network TV series based on the video game. Yeah. He doesn't go on to do anything else.
I mean, he was good in the role, but it's not like anyone in that movie was necessarily just chewing up the scenery or anything.
I think a lot of people are chewing up the scenery. I think yeah, that's the unfortunate thing. My actual hot take on the whole Cinderella fairy tale is my super hot take. Cinderella's father is actually a bastard. He's dead. I understand that, but he is not a good person. Like, I feel like him telling his daughter, please keep this family together after I'm dead is just the worst. Like, how could he not realize that this lady that he married was just terrible?
Just garbage.
Just a garbage person.
They're not garbage in front of the husband.
I don't know if they can hide it that well. Like, she couldn't even hide it when she was talking to Jason Alexander's Lionel character or the king. Like,
I do feel like, did you see the I don't know, 2000 something Cinderella that came out with
I did not.
King Rob? That one does a better job, I think, of setting up why he married again, and a better job of why Cinderella is always kind.
Mm.
So that one does a really good job of setting up, like, always be kind, but don't be like a pushover kind of thing. Like, you can be kind to people that are mean to you, and eventually you will get there, basically. I don't know. I'm not phrasing that right, because I also do think, no, you should stand up for yourself. But the movie does do a good job over choose to be kind, and you will get back at them better than if you choose to be as cruel as they are. And
But that's that version of Cinderella. That's the one with Kate Blanchett, right?
Yes, the one with Kate Blanchett, which I think which goes more into the societal issues of, he had to marry because you have to have a wife to help your daughter get into society. Basically, you have to have a woman represent your daughter within the court system to be able to come out. And then Kate Blanchett doesn't do that because she knows that Cinderella is better than her daughters because she's kind. And the complete opposite of Kate Blanchett, who is a character that has been destroyed by society because of reasons as well. So I also recommend that movie, which is not a musical.
So you had already talked about this one a couple weeks ago, so I won't get too much into that part of it. I do want to bring up the fact that I understand that this is a different version of Cinderella as opposed to the Disney one. So you don't get any of the songs from the Disney one. You don't get the playing with the animals version that you get from that. This is the third time that this one was made into a live action movie for TV, nonetheless. What was it? Julie Andrews was Cinderella in one of them, the 1957 one, I think. Sure. Cinderella. It's definitely there. I kind of want, like, coming out of this, I really came out with I would love to see someone take on the fairy tale, but coming from, and I'm sure someone's already done this, but coming from one of the stepsisters, in the fact that it's like, even in this one, the one sister just laughs too much and the other one is itchy. Like, yes, they are overbearing, but like, and that's coming from Cinderella's side. Like, if you came from the stepsister side, like, just because of their nervousness, they are very much not liked by the prince. Like, he's like, you're itching, you're scratching yourself, so thus go away, kind of thing. Like,
but they're also lying about it.
They're also lying.
If they were just like, "Hello, Prince. Hi. No, yes, I am scratching myself.
So
I have an issue with eczema."
So then you put the emphasis on the way too much pressure their mother puts on them. Like, I would think this would be an interesting story if you came from some other angle. Like, sure, let Cinderella and the prince, which doesn't even have a name, go off and have their happily ever after. But I want to see the story of, and not the one that you get from Shrek with the guy, being a girl thing that they have in that, which does not seem good to me.
As I say, let's be very clear. Mitch hates the Cinderella story.
Yeah,
as a story.
I mean, I don't hate the story, but I don't. I think Frozen points it out the best. Is how can you love this guy? You just met them. I mean, the good thing about this one is that they do have that first interaction before either one of them knows that the other one is a person of interest, I guess, and they kind of find each other charming.
They're clearly destined for each other. They just like riff on that song together. He already knows the song and whatnot.
You know what? That was something I wanted to ask the group. In these musicals, you always end up getting one, a huge group of people singing the same song, or two people singing a duet that they don't know that they're singing a duet. Is that because one person like has a superpower and they like literally interjecting their thoughts into someone else's mind, or is there is there a hive mind, like where a bunch of people are just like feeling the groove from the earth,
just destiny,
from the ether?
It's shared jazz hysteria.
Jazz hysteria.
It's a shared jazz hysteria.
It's a suspension of belief. Just like I had to suspend my belief over all the electricity stunts in Tango and Cash. That would never happen.
Oh, you should watch Crank next.
Oh,
God.
It's the same kind. Like, just like you have to suspend yourself in action films when they do things that is never possible. Have to accept in musicals. People just know how to sing all the parts and harmonies and dance well.
And I'm not saying I'm upset about it. Like, I understand it and I go along with it. I'm just saying, like, if someone were to write this in, like why it is, like as an observer on the outside, well, why did everybody just start singing the same song? How do they all know it? Like, what would be the thing that you would write in? Is it because there's an X-Men in the group, or is it more of a Gaia thing? Like we're just feeling it from the earth.
Nobody is actually singing. It's all just head injuries for the main character. I think that's what pop culture has established.
So you're saying at the beginning of this movie, Cinderella actually got hit by those horses. And
this happened years ago when she first moved in. That aunt just smacked her so hard.
The stepmom.
Doesn't she have a song the like in my dreams or something? When I'm sitting in my chair, she sings a song about how in her dream this is what would happen, kind of thing. Yeah, that's her actually in the dream the entire time.
Oh damn.
She's just sitting in her chair.
Comatose. So, yeah, this was a watch. I'm glad I got to watch it now, and I can check it off the list. Thank you, Jessica. It's on Disney Plus.
Mitch,
what?
I gotta know. When anyone watches a new piece of any kind of fiction or anything, the first thing that people do is ship, you know? So tell me, do you ship the king and queen in this movie? Does that seem like a good romance? Because I'll say one thing about them. They do seem supportive of each other's like wandering eyes. Well, no, because both of them are just kind of like, oh no, that person's real pretty. And the other person's like, but they're clearly fooling with each other.
Well, one, you have to remember that in those societies, it was all for alliances is the reason why royals got together. Two, I would never have shipped Whoopi Goldberg and Ted Danson together. So, and they were in a relationship together in real life. So
And
there you go. Huh?
And the movie.
Yeah, that's right. That's where they met on Made in America. Sure, Victor Garber and Whoopi Goldberg together makes sense to me. Why not? I'm here for it.
I just like the way Whoopi Goldberg plays a mom. She's like, wait. No, I'm not agreeing to this exchange. No, I am still in charge. I am mom. I get to do what I want. You'll thank me later.
So there you go. Rodgers and Hammerstein's Cinderella is on Disney Plus. Okay, let's get into talking about the Falcon and the Winter Soldier, Episode 5, Truth.
Mitch, what is the time code right now for this episode?
For this episode,
An hour and a half.
right now, we are at an hour and 10 minutes.
This one podcast might run longer than the entire series of Falcon and Winter Soldier.
It just might, because there's a lot to talk about in this episode.
To talk about.
Specifically talking about, and since Steven brought it up, shipping. Yeah, that's right. Bucky and Sarah Wilson. I love it.
Yes.
I'm all for it. And it even goes along with Tango and Cash of the buddy cop film where one guy has to fall in love with the sister of the other guy. I'm all for it.
You don't mean Bucky and Sam actually sitting on the ship and like talking about feelings?
I mean,
It's different shipping.
that's different shipping. Yeah. Like if that's the way they want to go too, then I'm here for it. But I'm saying the sparks were flying between Sarah and Buck.
Wait, no. Mitch, this was a boat pun.
I get that also. I'm just saying. I get it. John's a dad.
See,
I get it.
John was trying to say that ship is similar to the fact that they were on a fishing boat.
A ship.
Steven, you're ruining it.
I just want to make sure it's because of the boat, not so much because of the relationship part. In relationship, like that's. I just want to make sure.
We got it.
This podcast isn't long enough.
I think it's just long enough. All right. So, yes, we get to see the ramifications of John Walker's actions at the end of episode 4.
Mm-hmm.
Also, we get to see that the way that Infinity Wars should have been accomplished if Star-Lord hadn't fucked it up.
This is true. We very much, and that did go through my mind when Bucky and Sam are both fighting over the shield to get it off of John Walker's arm. It is very reminiscent of Spider-Man trying to pull off the gauntlet off of Thanos' hand.
Yeah.
And they do it.
And they do it.
They actually accomplish what was supposed to have occurred.
They straight up break his arm.
Whatever it takes.
You deserve that.
But yes, that it was very reminiscent. I was expecting maybe Star-Lord to come in and screw it up again. Like, I'm just saying.
What's going on here from a portal? Oh, bye.
How did everybody feel about not only seeing that fight scene, but seeing Sam get his wings ripped off?
I thought they could have done that scene crazier, in all honesty.
Yeah?
Yeah, there have been so many parts where in a TV show or a movie or something, we see someone get pushed against something or hit something, and it's like, oh, damn, I felt that. When his wings got ripped off, I didn't feel it, even though it's a big thing for him. I felt more for him because that's something that he relies on and uses very well throughout the show.
Yeah.
But visually, it didn't hit me.
I don't think that I would have felt it in any way they shot it, because like it's not like his arm. He doesn't have any nerves in those wings. Like because like when I saw John Walker's arm got broke, I still felt that.
Yeah.
If they had had him pulling on the wings the whole time, and Sam tries to do something to use the jets to move up and away from it, so he lifts himself up and then he breaks the wings downwards. So Sam gets pushed down. He pushes him down and then breaks the wings off. So we see Sam move in a different direction from the wings at the same time. It would have been a really powerful visual thing.
See, go ahead, Jessica.
Go ahead, Elizabeth. Yeah.
So I actually liked the way they shot it, because for me, at first, I thought he was strangling Sam, like actually taking his life.
That's the one.
I thought he was at first.
Yeah.
Well, and so that's my thing. And then he rips the wings off, so he doesn't literally kill him, although it's shot as if he were literally killing him. Instead, he just figuratively kills him.
I feel like
I think he was strangling him a little bit.
And then he goes for the death blow
with
with the shield, like the exact thing that we just saw him do.
Yeah.
I feel like it was very much John Walker going, look, I took the serum because I'm better than you, kind of thing. Like, you could never be Captain America. And so he goes to almost kill him by choking him out, and then taking off the thing that makes him almost equal to Captain America, which is his wings, because he's so good at fighting in his wings, he doesn't need the serum. And then he goes to kill him with Captain America's symbol. Like, it's very much, screw you, Sam. Like, that's all 3 points.
There was also, like, they've done a really good job of showing him, John Walker, overstepping in things and saying, like, I'm doing this very well, good. And they literally just had him say that in this. And I was like, no, yeah, he's still being post 9/11 Cap. Like, it was a really good moment where he says, why are you, like, stop making me do this?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, stop making me kill you. What?
Yeah. I mean, even in the scene with the senators, you don't understand. I'm doing everything you wanted me to do. I've done it exactly the way you wanted.
I've done what you trained me to do. Yeah.
I would like to know, because I listened to what you guys said in last week's podcast, actually, right before we were recording this. You guys mentioned how they were kind of sort of glossing over a lot of things, like about, like, not anti-America, but about, like, the truth about America. This one that was all build up for this episode. This episode was very much on the nail. No, these are the messages we are trying to showcase.
This episode, I do think also did do a good job of making it so anyone who would be offended by the idea of pointing out these different flaws in America, if there's someone who is a soldier, I think that plenty of soldiers still do agree with the idea of it's wrong what I have to do, but it's doing what I'm told to do for a greater good. Like the idea of the chain of command being unquestionable because there's a higher vision. They do a good job of making that still be a part of who John Walker is.
And and the breakdown that occurs when somebody who is trained to be in that chain of command is now the only command. And what damage that can do.
However,
That being said, he's still a weenie for lying that guy was the one that killed him.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Oh yeah, that was irredeemable. in
we
my eyes,
also
actually.
got introduced to a new character in the game, and someone who a new name that showed up in the missing blank for the credits. Julie Louis-Dreyfus as Victoria. Was it Victoria?
Valerie.
Valentina. That's right. Valentina de Fontaine or something like that. A character I'm not very familiar with in the comic books. However, looking her up afterwards goes on to be a very big character. I don't want to spoil it for anybody that doesn't know. But yeah, she comes in and says, look, I might have a job for you, and they're not going to admit it in front of the cameras, but you did the right thing. And don't worry about the shield because we didn't really own it anyways.
I felt so vindicated. I was like, thank you for discussing that fact. Like, it was a very short discussion, but just because I remember we talked about it at the start of the show. Yeah. So that made me feel much better.
I said that too when she said that. I was like, "Oh, Elizabeth's going to be happy."
I mean, how does everybody feel about this added bonus of a character like this person that's going to embolden John Walker into his further frenzy and journey of doing what he believes is right for America?
I wish there were 3 episodes after the introduction of this kind of character.
Oh yeah, I want more from her already.
I think it's necessary because I think the whole point is John Walker is to showcase why initially, and I can't remember the doctor's name, the German doctor's Erskine didn't want a good soldier. And John Walker is a good soldier, not a good man. But he is still a good soldier, so he needs a commanding officer. He needs to feel like he's supposed to be doing the right thing, because he's not evil in the traditional sense, in that, he relishes in the death and destruction, or, he is meant to show that kind of gray area like Carly is, of doing the wrong things for what you think are the right reasons. And so for him, he needs a commanding officer to tell him that he is doing the right thing.
One of the other huge reveals in this episode that we got is the fact that, to me, the dialogue says that Bucky and Cap had a conversation before Cap went back in time, and he knew that Steve was going to stay in the past, and when he eventually showed up to this point, he was going to give the shield to Sam. Like, the fact that I don't feel like that conversation is really had or had been had by the time when Buck is saying bye to Steve, but I think it is there. You could argue that it's there.
See, and I think, I don't know that the conversation was, I'm going to stay back. It's that when I'm ready to retire, it's going to go to Sam. Or when I'm done, I want it to go to Sam. As opposed to, that end of the conversation versus exactly how that's going to come about.
Okay. That's one way of interpreting.
Yeah.
I also think it's interesting that Steve is like, shield goes to Sam, my book goes to you. Like, this is how I want this to play out. I mean, it makes sense.
People write wills all the time.
No. I understand, and it means more for the shield to go to Sam, and it means more for the book to go to Buck. Like it's
well,
this is how I integrated back into the world. You should do the same.
But to that point, giving the shield to Sam, it's like Cap knew what kind of journey that was going to take Sam on specifically, because we get that scene with Isaiah Bradley, which to me was like the most impactful scene of this episode, that conversation that they have.
Yeah.
The fact that Isaiah Bradley was incarcerated and essentially court-martialed for the exact same thing that Cap did in the first Avenger.
Yeah.
And it shows the divide that there is And he mentions Tuskegee, the Red Tails, how they would fight for their country just like, their white brothers and come back to burning crosses on their lawn. Like that whole thing was like very like, damn, like he's really just spilling the tea right there of like, yeah, like we do what we think is right and this is how we're rewarded for it. And we get no thanks. And, we're treated like criminals still in our own country that, we did all this stuff for and we're all experimented on without our consent. They didn't even know that that's what they were being given. Apparently, like that was like, wow.
That's not even fiction. That's
Exactly. Yeah. So like that, and Isaiah basically saying, I think he even said it specifically, the world is not ready for a black Captain America, essentially. It's the shorthand of all of that. And Sam is struggling with that. That's why he gave up the shield at the beginning, because he didn't think that that was the case. And I mean, everything we've seen so far that's not like superhero action stuff related is dealing with that. And the whole conversation with, basically Sam and Bucky are both going through the same thing of like, you can't let someone else tell you who you are. Like Bucky is not the Winter Soldier anymore. He is who he wants to be now. And Sam is Captain America. He can't let the previous preconceptions of society dictate that he can't be. And the best scene about that, showing that he's finally accepting it, is when his youngest nephew, the one with glasses, is like admiring the shield while Sam is holding it. And you can kind of see the implication in Sam is, yes, like I need to do this for him to show that this can be done. Because since Isaiah Bradley didn't exist for him, he didn't feel like he could be Captain America. So he needs to be the Isaiah Bradley that the next generation needs. And I was like, man, show, why are you making me feel stuff?
Well, and I was really glad to see that the Isaiah Bradley scene and the Bucky scene were paired in the same episode. Particularly Isaiah Bradley saying, the last line, the one that probably hit the hardest for me was, and no self-respecting black man would be Captain America. And then Bucky's statement of, Steve and I couldn't have known. Like, we didn't know and we couldn't have known what that would have meant for you or what that kind of damage could be. And I found those two sides of the same coin very poignant, because it does give Sam the space to decide who he wants to be and what he wants Captain America to look like. Which I thought was really important for his journey. Although, as Mitch will point out, I continually throughout the episode was like, just destroy the shield. Like, it just needs to just like go away. Captain America is gone. Like, be your own. Like, just, I was like, oh, good. I hope that he hands the shield back to the Wakandans and tells them to melt it down. Or, I hope they take it out in the boat and just dump it in the ocean. Like, just get rid of it.
The thing I would say for that one is I think the shield as a symbol has been destroyed effectively at this point. But so from this point on, like it stopped being just the symbol itself and is now about the person who's wielding it at that point in time, because you have that massive dichotomy of the two people who we've seen publicly wield it.
If Marvel comic books are anything, as everybody loves to point out, as opposed to DC, where DC is these people that are gods, Marvel comic books is all about humans having to redeem themselves for the bad things that they've done. That's exactly what they're going to do with the shield. The shield has to be redeemed as well. So having Sam wield it and then showing that it means just as much that the shield is getting redeemed as America itself is getting redeemed. Like, is that going to happen in the real world? Of course not. This is what the comic book is going to be, and this is what the comic book's TV show is going to be. So you can't just destroy it and be like, we're done with it. At least in my eyes, you have to redeem the symbol and the name. Well, now the name.
Yeah.
I'm very curious to see what they do in one more episode. Like there's so much to be resolved here, and honestly, I'm at a point now with what we're getting in these TV shows, these Disney Plus TV shows. Obviously, we're only 2 shows deep in this, but all the same, it's kind of starting to feel like how people feel about how Raya and the Last Dragon and
Avatar?
I forget the other movie. Yeah,
Oh.
no, and Mulan.
Oh.
How those films were put behind a paywall on Disney Plus, but other movies were just free. You know,
Soul.
like yeah, like it's a little frustrating that the thing that's widely available to everyone are the Marvel movies that aren't dealing with these deeper themes, but then you have to pay some money to get some meat like this. I like even in the Iron Man movies where we deal with him possibly having like some PTSD, some other different kinds of things. Even those are dealt with in very small ways. The Iron Man films are the closest to actually talking about war, profiteering, or anything like that. But this is one of the most substantial conversations that's so important to be out there. And you have to have this service, a decent internet connection, because that app fucking sucks.
That app does suck.
Like it's there are so many barriers to entry to see this important message, and I'm a little bit frustrated with that idea.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, Disney Plus is a cheaper app than most others, though. Like, I just like the paywall for the movies. I can't fault them that much. That wasn't something that they were planning on doing. Like that's
That's a function of the pandemic.
That's a function of the pandemic. The TV shows were always
but
going to
other
be on
movies
there.
came out at the same time.
Yeah.
Like, Soul was put out for free.
Yeah, Soul was put out for free. I feel like, I think I mentioned before, probably Soul was put out for free because they knew Soul wasn't going to do good because of the type of movie it was and when it came out. But they just announced that the next Pixar movie, I cannot remember what it's called. It's about
Luca.
two boys in Italy. So Luca is going to come out for free.
Yeah.
Which that surprised me. I was like, wait, why?
And it may be something in the contract with Pixar.
Well, as far as I know, I don't know. It could just be rumor mill, but I think that rumor mill. I think Pixar animators are upset it's coming out for free.
Oh.
So
Most
they were
most
fine
people
with
who,
Soul.
yeah, like the massive hubbub that we saw from the people who
Yeah.
had their movies go up on HBO Max. Also mad.
Yeah.
It's just odd. I don't know. It's not that it's some massive big thing. Again, we're so early in that situation for it to be a big issue. But I'd hope that they do something like they did with Black Panther, where they put it out for that free run of movie, like sometime in theaters, in celebration of that. I hope that something like that happens with this. You give DVDs or Blu-rays or something to like some kind of libraries somewhere, something for this one, because it's an important ass conversation.
It is.
Absolutely. On a much lighter note, I particularly enjoyed the discussion between Bucky and Sam at the end about, are they coworkers? Are they just two dudes? Are they
There are two guys that had a mutual friend.
who died? So now they're just two guys.
Yeah.
As well as when they're trying to deal with the pump, and Sarah comes up and she's like, no. I don't tell you how to go jumping at airplanes and fly around in the sky. Don't touch things you don't know.
My favorite part of that
away.
whole exchange was the last word that she said in the thing. She said, off.
Off.
It was absolutely fantastic.
I wanted to bring up the fact that I mean, we obviously get a reveal, and I feel like it's not being talked about enough, and not by us, but just in general. Sharon.
Yeah.
If she's not the power broker, she's at least helping the Flag Smashers. She calls Batroc. Batroc shows up to give weapons to the Flag Smashers, to Carly. I don't know. It seemed like a weird anti-reveal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Weird.
Especially after everyone had made this whole thing on the internet already about, cameo. I didn't feel like the thing with Julia Louis-Dreyfus was a cameo. That is an actor playing a role in a thing. That's a character.
Yeah, that's a
so
character.
I was like, what is the cameo? What?
So I'll tell you what I thought the cameo was before going into the episode, and that will be the next scene that I was going to bring up. Zemo and Bucky talking, and Bucky like having the gun and being like, pulling the trigger.
You thought Cap was gonna come out?
No. I didn't think it was gonna be Cap. So
okay,
I knew there was a big reveal or a big cameo, and I knew that everybody was floored by it. Essentially, that's what I got from Twitter before I could go away without getting spoiled. So, seeing the Dora Milaje show up and take him away, him still alive, I thought the end credit scene was going to be Thunderbolt Ross showing up at the raft and being like, I want you to do my Thunderbolts, to be the leader of my Thunderbolts.
Is anybody out there possibly willing to go back through us talking about any of these Marvel shows and count the times that Mitch has said Thunderbolt Ross's name?
I don't care.
I don't have enough fingers and toes for it, Mitch.
Mitch, you're just going to have to write it.
I'm just saying, I was going to tweet right after watching that, being like, I've been waiting for this line since Civil War, and it has not happened.
I'll fill you in on a little secret, Steven. The conversations about Thunderbolt Ross are not relegated to just this podcast.
Nope, it's not. It shows up in just about every episode of Journey into Mystery.
Or just an everyday conversation.
This is also true. I want it. Someone give it to me already.
So, like, over brunch, you'll be like, we haven't seen Thunderbolt Ross in a while.
I think that you're just going to have to take the
initiative.
From Cinderella, you're going to have to take the fairy godmother's speech internally, and you're going to have to do it yourself.
Okay. I make my own magic.
Yes.
Release the Thunderbolt Ross cut.
There you go. That's what I want. Look, that's literally what I thought the big reveal was going to be. It was not. You were right. The cameo is Julia Louis-Dreyfus as Valentina. I think either she has to play a bigger role in the last episode, or that is something that's going to be playing out in further TV series or the further of the MCU. Because it seems odd to just have her come in for that 3 lines and then walk out.
Yeah, no, I
think it's the TV show part.
Yeah, see, and I think it's going to be something along the lines of, let me talk to you about the Avengers Initiative. Like, it's just going to be her showing up in various ones throughout to build
She's
up
the anti-Nick Fury.
She's the anti-Nick Fury.
I want her to use the exact same line, but mean it negatively. Like, I want to talk to you about the Avengers Initiative.
Oh, like, those bastards, you're going to be a part of my Avengers. And thus we get the Dark Avengers, which is a possibility.
That was a good... honestly, I was still buying comics actively for superhero stuff at that point in time. That was fine. I think the comics were a little bit too muddy colored for that whole run, but that was a good arc.
Okay. Yeah. Dark Avengers is a great arc. I don't know if we have enough of those Avengers yet, but I'm here for it.
Because Disney's got a while, and they can kind of keep going.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Because you need the Dark Thor, you need a Dark Spider-Man. We have a Dark Hulk already. You have a Dark Captain America. You'd need a Captain Marvel. You'd have to have counterparts to everybody, and we just haven't gotten them yet.
I think we get Iron Patriot before we ever get any of the Dark Avengers stuff.
I mean, we got the Iron Patriot suit already in Iron Man 3, so it's out there somewhere. You could, but we have gotten more, or at least we got to see a little bit more of Eli Bradley in this episode. He even says the line of "I'll be there." Like it's a nod to the audience of it's coming. I'm going to wear the suit.
Mitch, I was listening to his voice so carefully because I was like, does he have like a good voice for being this like leader role? I was like, okay, no, yeah, he has a good bearing. Like I actually said it audibly to Naeem as we watched. I was like, okay, no, yeah, he has a good bearing for this.
I mean, in the initial run of the Young Avengers, him and Kate both are like the co-captains, co-leaders of the group. So I would love to see that dynamic between that actor and Haley Steinfeld for the role of leader.
Question for everyone here.
Answer. Daily Double.
What's in the box?
Good question.
The most frustrating ending.
I mean, you have to say it. You have to say it like Brad Pitt, John.
What's in the box?
Don't open the box.
There was a part where I was like, they're taking so long to actually get to the box, and they're showing him do other things. Where I was like, Did he just bring him practice pads to put on trees? Like, was that what was in the freaking box? Because
I need something Wakanda. I need those special mats you have.
They're vibranium practice mats.
No, I was literally going insane because I'm that person that when I get a package, I get excited, even though I know what it is and like have to open it right away. And I was like, who gets a gift from Wakanda and just let it sit there for a week and then slowly open it at the end of the episode and then cut away? I was frustrated. My mother was laughing at me because she knew and I knew inside that you were not going to see the reveal this episode. I was still mad. I was very mad. I was pouting my lip like I just want to know what was in the box.
It's a suit, right? Like it's going to be not just the wings. Yeah.
So he gets wings that absolutely like fit or incorporate the shield. And just want to put this out there. He has a Wakandan level Red Wing now. That's the best part.
Okay. All right.
That would make sense.
Do you also think that Buck knew when he asked the Wakandans to make this suit for him that Sam would eventually take on the mantle of Captain America? So thus these wings are going to be in the red, white, and blue colors that Sam eventually wears in the comic book?
I don't think Bucky knew. I think the Wakandans knew. I actually half expect them to have already had it built when Bucky asks. Like, he's just like, can I get that suit that I know you already made?
Fair enough. Basically, everybody knowing that Sam's eventually going to come to the decision that we all know is the right decision of him being the new Captain America, and the suit is going to be red, white, and blue. Does anybody else feel that way?
Yes.
Okay.
I just don't. I don't know how it is in the comics. I think he does still keep the wings. I don't want him to have the wings anymore. I want it to literally just be a suit because I want Torres to have the wings.
But he also gets to have wings of a different sort.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I don't know, but and maybe I don't know the comics, but I was like, I kind of just want it to be a suit to where no, you can be Captain America. This is just to help you be super soldier without being a super soldier.
It's an exosuit, essentially. Like something to boost his strength and something to maybe increase his agility.
Yeah, I don't necessarily need wings on it. I think it will have wings on it. But I was like, I kind of want him to move on and be like, you can be your own version of Cap. But then I guess the wings are on him. I don't know. I just wanted it to be a suit.
The one thing I don't want is I don't want it to be a suit that comes out of nowhere, like the nanobots, like the Black Panther suit and Iron Man suit. Like, I don't want him to be just having gauntlets on and then all of a sudden a suit just comes around him. Like, I want him to actually put something on. That's me personally.
Yeah, I agree with you here.
Well, yeah, they're not going to give a non-Wakandan, like, the good stuff. This is going to be, like, giving you something that's your level.
No,
like
that was the whole point of the end of Black Panther 1, is that they are going to give out give the technology to non-Wakandans.
Yeah.
Except they were looking for a Starbucks maybe hosting the Olympics, and they got way more than they bargained for. So, I don't... they may have, like, pulled back a little bit. They're like, oh, maybe we hold off.
Maybe.
For this one... I'm really curious if they ever actually do Bucky as the White Wolf. Like, I know this is like...
Well, he was a different character.
Future spoilers or so many things. Well, because the White Wolf is essentially like White Panther,
Well, I don't know. Maybe I'm thinking of a different character, though. I know that the White Wolf was a different character. It wasn't Buck, and it was also... I don't think he was
it's a different person, for sure.
Was he a good guy? I thought he was a bad guy.
I don't read that particular like run of this stuff. Like, so all I have in my mind is that one image of Black Panther and the White Wolf alongside each other, leaping towards the camera like you do.
Oh, okay. Well, there you go. Do you want them to get to that point, or you don't want them to get to that point?
No, I don't want that at all. I don't think everyone needs to have suits and tech and all these crazy things. It's okay for there just to be a person. We don't have an Agent Coulson anymore. The closest we have is a person that we already know has abilities later. I'm so upset about it.
I mean, yeah, I get what you're saying, and I assume you're talking about Torres.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
or Sharon.
Sharon, yeah, you got Sharon. She doesn't have ability.
Even she's involved with power, dealing.
True.
The sauce.
I my thought is her phone call is supposed to show, like, the fact that she's helping the Flag Smasher is supposed to show that she is not part of the Power Broker. Because the Power Broker wants to destroy the Flag Smashers and get his tech back, or her tech back.
Yeah.
Or, she just wants them to stay alive so that she can get a hold of them and take the power serum out of their blood, just like they did with
Isaiah.
Isaiah, thank you. I don't know.
I'm super torn because I agree with you. She is a person doing her own things through her own means. Why aren't these the main, like, there's no main player who's doing this. The closest we have is Hawkeye, but like dude's got like punching gloves on on arrows and stuff. He's got crazy stuff.
This version of the character does not have the punching glove arrow. Don't throw that on him.
It's just I just want one normal person in there. Otherwise, people who watch all the things, they're not living up to the idea of anyone can wear the mask kind of stuff from Spider-Man, you know?
But Spider-Man has powers.
No, I get that one. But at the end of so many things, it's that anyone can still represent these ideals. It doesn't have to be a thing where you're going around trading blows with somebody. I want that.
Okay.
I'm picky.
Go ahead, Jessica.
I don't know a lot about it, but I've been looking up a lot of stuff on Girl, and although she has powers, isn't she also much one that, like, not outsmarts the bad guy, but tries to empathize with the villain before she has to fight them?
Yeah. People have been asking for that team in general, and I would like that very much.
Well, they threw Squirrel Girl onto the New Warriors. Like that came about because of the TV show that we were supposed to get with the always forget her name, but the actress that's in those AT&T commercials. She played Squirrel Girl in a live action version of the New Warriors. It just never made it to TV.
Melania Weintraub?
Yep, that's her name, Melania. So she also ended up voicing her, I believe, in the animated series. But Squirrel Girl, I think, as of recent, has, like, in the recent history of 10 years, has been the one to empathize with the villains and stuff like that. She's always just more been like because they underestimate her so much, she is able to take down Galactus and Doctor Doom and Thanos and all the big guys. Like, no one thinks that this young woman that can talk to squirrels is going to be able to take them down. But squirrels are big enough to take a horde of squirrels is enough.
Yeah, and that's what I liked, was the one thing I had read about her was how she somehow befriended Doctor Doom and convinced him to let her borrow her time machine so that she could gather a bunch of squirrels slowly and just attack a compound with a bunch of squirrels, which sounds like an utter nightmare. But I just
comics.
Wait, she just befriended Doctor Doom. She's like, hey, can I borrow this? Fine.
You just asked last Tuesday.
Oh, come on. Okay, you could have it. And I just thought that was cute because now I know more about Doctor Doom from the Fantastic Four series I watched. And yeah, I'm like, she befriended that. I want to read all the Squirrel Girl comics, so I've got to see if I can get those.
So yeah, Torres has himself a pair of wings. We'll see if he ends up doing anything with them.
Yes, because he's adorable and he needs to stay on.
We talked about it before we started recording, I think, but the scene where Sam and Bucky are throwing the shield back and forth seemed out of order to me, at least, and to Elizabeth, because, like, the scene starts off with the shield being halfway into a tree. And then all of a sudden there's pads, and then the two of them are playing catch, and then Sam goes into training where he isn't quite catching it as well as they were when they were playing catch. But I guess that would be the difference, is playing catch and training.
Yeah, the playing catch and training, and then also if I think about, like, practicing ball, like throwing a baseball, you do the little lop thing, and then when you're practicing with a fastball. There's a difference. And that's what it kind of felt like, was they're very casually just throwing it. So it's not going it's going fast. It's not going as fast as it could. And then Sam's really pushing it to the limit when he's training later. So if it does hit him, it's going to knock him out. And that's where you get the, okay, like, nope. I'm going to try a backflip. Nope. Like,
I like that we saw him do the things that he'll do in a fight in that training montage, where he threw it, caught it, all while running towards the presumed bad guy.
Right.
And then also doing the flips and stuff that he would be doing with the wings, incorporating the shield toss. That was cool.
Steve would also do flips when he's throwing it. Like it's just I assume it's just a way to dodge bullets, like because your enemy doesn't know where you're going to be at.
Because they're so fabricated. Wow, that was a good backflip. Good job.
I was going to say my take on the training sequence was that he literally just watched a bunch of old videos about how Steve fought bad guys and was like, okay, now I go do that. Like I just practice what he did.
There would be like a whole YouTube dissertations about momentum in Captain America's movements, and he's just like, okay, yeah.
Like that's what I picture occurring.
I can't wait till you all see Taskmaster. So with the box not being opened, the episode ends right with him opening it, but us not seeing it. Our in-credit scene is us seeing John Walker creating his own Captain America shield, using his Medals of Honor to be pounded into the shield itself, and he's also putting a star on there. The version of U.S. Agent that John Walker eventually becomes in the comic books has a black and red and white shield, not a blue, red, white, and shield. If they end up doing that, I don't know. I think that'd be interesting. It's definitely a commentary on where his headspace is and what he believes is right. But throwing the Medals of Honor that he already once in the show itself talked about, like if they really knew what I had to do and they gave me these, they probably wouldn't have given them to me. Like, how does that?
It's a heavy-handed metaphor. The one thing that they said early on in the episode was that the only thing stopping you from greater repercussions is your past service. He's literally, in this moment, being shielded by the things that the army said he done good.
Right.
Yeah. He's like, I didn't do good, though.
Yeah.
Like, and I got rewarded for it.
I think it's very important that he painted the shield to mirror the old one, because he still sees himself as the good guy. He still sees himself as Captain America. They can't take that from me. I really am Captain America. That's who I am. That is, at this point, his entire identity, and he is in a full-fledged identity crisis.
Yes.
Which will resolve itself when he changes the colors of his shield. I think that's what they're gearing up towards.
I don't think John Walker makes it past this series. I think he ends up dying. I don't have that.
So.
I don't have that. I have no insider knowledge. And in the comic books, he very much lives on to redeem himself, because that's what Marvel Comics does. They redeem their villains. But I don't think that the MCU is going to do the same. Like I think he does not live through the last episode.
I think
agreed. I don't think he's useful for the MCU past this.
Okay.
I think they keep him alive
to make the Dark Avengers. I'm all for it.
No, just to keep their options open.
Okay.
Just to literally keep a couple strings open for anything that they may want to do in the future, because I don't think they know what they want to do. I think they've got, a 10-year plan, and then they're like, and then we'll see.
Well, I mean, that is a comic book movie trope to kill off the villain, and we always want that to change. So, like, look at.
I mean, he could be the new Crossbones.
He could be the new Crossbones. That's a possibility. I mean, the unfortunate thing with the first Black Panther is that we killed off Killmonger.
Killmonger.
So that's an unfortunate thing. That's why we don't want our villains to die, so that they can come back and have other strings to pull.
Do more bad things.
Do more bad things.
Oh, I will say I liked Zemo in the scene where the Dormilaje are about to take him. He actually had a good heartfult moment in there. They're doing work for him.
This is a guy that killed people in explosions and killed T'Chaka, but everybody is okay with the redemption of him.
No. I don't like it. I'm just saying they're doing work. They are putting in hours to try to redeem this character.
That's what I'm saying. Is that's the whole point of Marvel Comics.
And I don't know that they're really trying to redeem him.
I think they are.
Because to me, to me, this storyline, I don't feel he's redeemed. Like I don't see any good in him. But what I do see is the gray area. And I think that's kind of the point. I
definitely think it's the making of a villain. Is what it is.
Oh, what were you about to say, Stephen? What's the two lines?
So there's two lines that I think are them trying to redeem him. Whether they're successful or not is very different. But there's the part earlier on where he has a whole conversation of saying that it was just a means to an end. And then between that and the thing that he says here, where he's about to be taken away and he says, I don't hold any malice or whatever it is towards you for doing what you think you have to do. About a thing that is good.
Right.
By giving him up to the Dora Milaje. Like, I think that there's a bunch of different sides and facets to those two lines that they've given him that are them trying to rehabilitate the idea of this character. Again, whether I'm here for it, that's very different. But I think that's what they're supposed to be trying to do.
Do you think he was honest in the fact that he said he wasn't planning on killing Bucky? Like that was no longer in his plans?
Yeah.
Or was that
I think Bucky is Steve to him.
Okay.
It's the idea of Steve Rogers passed through the wrongs that he himself as Zemo did. Like it's a dirtied up Steve Rogers.
I think it's Zemo letting Bucky know that Zemo thinks he's broken the Winter Soldier programming. I no longer feel the need to kill you because I no longer think you're the Winter Soldier. I think this is me telling you you succeeded.
Okay. Any last thoughts? Any part of the show that you feel we haven't covered yet?
I just wanted to make sure it was clear earlier that it was about the actual boat, not the relationship.
Steven, you just have to have your own podcast on that, okay?
Overtime with Steven. The joke is about the boat. All right.
I did want to mention real quick that I love that he goes to that when Zemo is at the memorial, the words at the bottom are in Cyrillic, and since I've been practicing Russian on Duolingo, although I didn't know most of the words, I could read them because I know the alphabet pretty well now. And the last word is Sokovia in Cyrillic, and I'm like, oh, cool. Now I just need to find out what the first parts of it mean, and I'll be able to translate it. I was kind of proud of myself there for a moment.
There you go. Good job.
Cool.
I mean, at the end of Age of Ultron, they do so much work in trying to save all those civilians. How many people actually died at Sokovia? Like, we know that
it's easier to count how many people lived.
Yeah.
By the way everyone talks about it.
I don't know. I mean, they got a lot of people onto those SHIELD airships. It seems like they saved a lot of people. We know that the one lady's son died because he was a UN rescuer or whatever it was, and that's what starts off Civil War. But
and at least Zemo's entire family.
This is true. Also, Zemo's entire family died.
maybe a dozen.
I mean,
At
not
least.
that there shouldn't be a memorial. I'm just wondering how many people actually died. Like, they did so much work at the end of that movie to make sure that civilians were saved. So, I'm just wondering. Like, there was already a war-torn country, as we've seen in WandaVision. Like, when
177.
137?
77.
177. Okay. Interesting.
I'm intrigued where you never mind.
The Google knows.
Some Marvel Cinematic Universe fandom page probably has it written down. But like I was saying, WandaVision, we see when Wanda's parents are killed. Like, it was already a war-torn country. So what was Zemo doing about that with his barren money?
The same things barons and czars have always done.
Profit?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'm just saying, don't feel too bad for him.
I don't.
Other people. Okay. Anything else? If you want to talk to me about the show or anything that we talked about earlier, you can find me on Twitter. I am at Mitchipedia GEM. GEM stands for Geek Elite Media. Steven, where can people find you online?
You can find me all across social media as some version of Peppermint Gentleman. For Twitter, that's Peppermint Gent for short.
Jessica?
You can find me on Twitter as @JMBaileyWrites.
John?
You can find me on Twitter as @MagicBollocks.
And Elizabeth?
You can find me with the rest of Geek Elite Media at Geek Elite Media and our Facebook page /Geek Elite Media.
Please check out our website, geekelitemedia.com, for archived episodes of this podcast and other podcasts on our website. Go to our Patreon, patreon.com/geekelitemedia, for exclusive material that you can only get there if you're one of our patrons. And whatever podcatcher you use to listen to us, please rate and review us. It helps spread the word of our network. But until next time, this is the Geeks Watch on the Geek Elite Media Network, saying always remember to geek out.
Geek out.
This concludes our broadcast. Beep.